Hello everyone, welcome back to Gaming with Shoggoths. We are here in Meerblick Prehistoric Zoo, and we are getting close to the end. This is the second to last build video that'll take place here, and then I will do like a full tour video after that as well. So about probably 3 more videos in total, including this one. We are kind of in the back end of the Germany area. This is like, for the most part, where I've been making all my dinosaurs while doing all the other builds. And now I've kind of, torn that all up to make a staff and security area with like a research center, and by research center we mean, they're making like, Indominus Rex and stuff like that. But right now I'm just slapping down things that look official. When I first started this park, I thought I put all eras. I thought I selected all eras, but apparently I only selected Jurassic World era. I really wish I had noticed that sooner. So I could have, started over and fixed that, because I would have really loved to have some of the stuff that, some of the other stuff that looks a little bit more like militaristic or just science-y, that, like the Department of Fish and Wildlife buildings that, were released on the update. Those would have been really cool in here. And granted, that would have taken like, future vision to know those were coming, but, I thought I had originally picked all eras anyway, so it's kind of a bummer that I can't use that stuff here, because I would love to have that stuff for my research and science area and stuff like that, but I guess that'll be for another park. So, I really love using things like, in this game you've got like the backup batteries and all that kind of stuff, but I just really like using all those, little buildings and, even the power lines and the power buildings, the electrical buildings, and just anything that looks kind of official, security, maintenance-y, all that kind of stuff to build like staff and security areas. I think it just gives it a nicer touch than having everything like open and bare. This area back here is gonna have tons of towers, and I like to use the observation towers in security areas as if they were security. Just bumped my mic stand while enthusiastically gesturing with my hands about the security towers. But I like to use the observation towers as security towers as well. I think that's a cool look. Sometimes I have them in random places, and it's like, you could think, well, oh, maybe the guests would just want to look of, the whole park, but I always like to think of them as like security towers, where you just have security people that are up in there keeping an eye on everything from like a bird's eye view. And I really wish they kind of had that kind of designation in the game, where you can say, oh, this is for employees, this is for guests, like basically have routes and areas of coverage like you do in like Planet Zoo and stuff like that. Like, I think that'd be really cool for a game like this, because it would allow for kind of a more realistic look. You could have security people only walking around in like in your staff areas, and you'd have guests only walking around in your guest areas. Like, to me, that would be a really cool, just like immersion thing. Whereas, like, if everything about this park was normal, like, it would have guests like walking through here. But I've mentioned before that I have a glitch going on where my park is like limited to 50 guests, and it is unfortunately because of one of the mods. And once it happened, it's one of those things where it's like it's too late to start over, and that kind of stuff happens with mods sometimes, weird glitches and stuff. And I didn't want to start the whole park over because it happened like, I don't know, 4 episodes ago or something like that. So I was still like a good 4 episodes in. So unfortunately, I won't have a nice, like, horde of people walking through here when this is done looking at things, but that's okay. I mean, it's more about the park build in general anyways. But, that sort of stuff aside, if I had guests in the park like they should be, like, they would all be up in here, like in their casual clothes and everything, in the high security area where I don't want guests to be. So it'd be really cool, like, just as an immersive thing to be able to, say, I only want staff in this area, and things like that. As you can see, I was using a gratuitous amount of power lines. I just think they look cool. I mean, also they like having the power lines where you want them without actually needing to worry about what they connect to makes it so you can make your power lines look nicer. You know, like you can have better designs with your power lines and make it look like the area is connected to power lines without it actually being connected to power lines and without it just being a mess. You know, I mean, I loved the original storyline for Jurassic World Evolution, like the original Jurassic World Evolution, and but man, my parks, they always just looked horrendous because the power lines are just everywhere, and I always thought it was bleh. And you know, because everything was so like, oh my god, things are escaping, like you never had a lot of time to just build and make your park look pretty outside of Sandbox. But if you recall, when Jurassic World Evolution came out, there was only one Sandbox map. You know, so the mass amounts of Sandbox building didn't come till later. So you really did focus in on that storyline. But anyways, we super digress from everything that's going on here. I'm just kind of babbling this morning. I didn't sleep very well last night, so I'm kind of like wee. But yeah, so this is just another like general security area. We've got our response team there, a few bathrooms, and the word is escaping me. Shelters, wow. And a few shelters, because you know, even staff need shelters, right? They're just not just for the guests, even though the game is always like, oh, your guests need shelter. It's like, well, you know, my employees need shelter too, you know. So what I'm building right here is kind of like a long-term staff area. It's gonna have some hotels, and basically, you know, especially when they were like on the islands, you know, in the original game, like staff would surely be there long term. They're probably not coming in like every day. Maybe they're leaving on the weekends, but I would think that they would need like long term housing. And if I had other options, I probably would have used like the little Jurassic Park bungalows. But since I only have Jurassic World stuff, I'm using the hotels. But you know, it's actually not that unrealistic. The last time I was in Mexico, the resort we stayed at, like, it had buildings on site that were for the employees that worked there, and they looked almost exactly like the hotel buildings did. So, you know, I mean, it's not that weird. But yeah, so they're gonna have the hotels, a couple places to eat at, or you know, of course they could go and they could eat in the rest of the park too, but they've got sushi and then a donut and coffee shop, and honestly, if I had that, I would be great. Wouldn't need anything else. So we're just decorating this area up. I love how the water in the pool looks on like fast time. Like the way it just, the waves just sort of glitter. It looks pretty cool. This is going to be another, you know, staff area. This is like the science-y part. I thought about it, like I was like, oh, maybe you could use like the staff centers for housing, but they really do look like workplaces. They actually kind of look like the community college campus that I live near. Like it's made up of a bunch of different buildings that used to be offices, and they have that same style as those staff buildings. So this is basically like the science-y area. It's a little more chill. Like these are like the the above board scientists, I guess you could say. Like these are the standard, you know, science crew. I'm just checking things out at night. Make sure we got even lighting. Doesn't look too bad. Just filling in spaces. I always like to fill in spaces. And then this is that blank area that I had, and I was just like, well, you know what? I'll just fill it in with some more, you know, official buildings and such. So this is like kind of like another sciencey research area. I do eventually put like just the lagoon hatchery there, almost as if it was like that's where you would take them if they were ill or, you know, needed quarantine. They'd get helicoptered over there. So that'll come like right towards the end, but that was kind of the idea. Since down here is all of the marine stuff, we can have like a special like marine science area down here for them. trying to think of what I'm gonna do like after this park. I mean, I've got the Superdome, quote unquote Superdome Island, which I still haven't named. Oh, there's the lagoon, and but I think the next park I'm gonna start is gonna be a no mods park. I know I keep saying that, so I think that's what I'm gonna do. Alright, so that's the end of the speed build, and we're just going to zoom through here a couple minutes, take a look at things from ground level at a normal speed. Like, kind of what I was thinking with this is that you have that helicopter entrance, and that's kind of for, like, the big wigs, and then the standard employees would come in on the monorail from the other entrance, like, where the guests come in. And I don't know if you could tell there, I'm not sure if I do a better view. Oh, that's kind of a better view. And you have that first, on the right is like a guest entrance to go to the other side of the park, and then that next one right there, that next monorail spot is like where the scientists would come down and come into this area. So that's the living area. I was also thinking about doing like a purely like research and development type island, and you know, you'd have like all the different creatures, different species, and they'd all be in like different colors and stuff like that, and like they're testing out like gene splicing or something. But I don't know how I want that to go, and that one would probably might require mods. So I'm thinking a no mods park next. Alright, so now we're going into like the high security area. This is where the slightly shadier people work and lots of security guards. There are 4 Indominus Rex and 2 Indoraptors over here. That's probably more than any group of people could handle. But we're gonna, you know, we're practicing, we're working on the docile genes right now. So we're keeping them tame and messing with those genes. They're okay for the time being, hopefully. I really do miss Mr. Troodon's fences from Jurassic World Evolution 1. That was a great mod. Had some really awesome, tall concrete fences that were just so cool, and they look great with an Indominus Rex or 2 in those enclosures, and I miss them so much. Hopefully someone will come out with a fence pack, because that would be a much needed and probably much celebrated mod. Alright, well that is going to wrap things up for this episode. Like I said, we got 2 more and then, one more now, and then a tour, and we will be done with this park. As always, I appreciate you checking out my video. If you're new, consider subscribing, leave a like or a comment. I'd love to hear from you guys always, and I will definitely be back with more Jurassic World Evolution 2 real soon. Until then, have a good one.